My fiancée hired her ex to plan our wedding. 20 grand gone. She said it was a venue deposit. No venue, no receipts. I worked double shifts. She played dress up with a scam artist. I didn't argue. I traced every dollar. Froze the account. Then, during dinner rush, she screamed at me in front of 50 guests. I played the audio. Her voice, planning the fraud. But what the banker told me after that shattered something deeper. You ever spend years perfecting your craft, thinking if you just build something beautiful, the people around you will respect it. I did that. My name's Liam. I'm 31. I'm a chef, a builder of plates, spaces, and plans. I've worked every kind of kitchen, saved every cent, and I thought I was building a life worth trusting with her. Her name's Rachel. 30, graphic designer, spontaneous, fiery. We met during a food truck crawl. She liked my sliders. I liked her laugh. It was fast, magnetic. Within 6 months, we moved in together. Within a year, we were engaged. We agreed to save for the wedding ourselves. No parental money. We opened a joint wedding fund. Goal, $20,000. She called it our commitment account. I thought it was romantic. I added to it like clockwork. $1,000 a month. She said she matched it. I never checked. Because that's what trust looks like, until it doesn't. She was in charge of wedding planning. I had no problem with that. My world was the kitchen. Hers was vision boards and Excel timelines. Month into the process, she told me she found a planner. Julian Knox, she said. Super professional, really polished. He did my friend's wedding and crushed it. I asked how much. She said he was giving her a personal rate, just $2,000. Honestly? That should have been my first red flag. Great planners don't discount 20 grand weddings down to pocket change, but I let it slide. I remember the first time I met Julian. He was wearing a cream turtleneck and black slacks like he was auditioning for a villain in a soap opera. Firm handshake, strong cologne. And this weird tension when he greeted Rachel. Like they'd done more than events together. He kept calling her Ratch. She laughed it off. He's just casual with everyone. Fine. She showed me the mood board. Rustic, modern, burnt orange accents. Signature cocktails named after us. I focused on work, on growing the restaurant. She focused on planning. Or so I thought. We hit the $20,000 goal right before the holidays. She was ecstatic. Kissed me in the middle of the kitchen and said, "This is gonna be the wedding of the year." I believed her, because when you're busy with 80-hour weeks and full bookings, you want to believe the person you love is holding the rope tight on the other side. But what I didn't know was that while I was prepping seasonal menus and locking in staff bonuses, Rachel and her planner were prepping something else. And the price wasn't just $20. It was everything I built trying to trust the wrong person. It started with a cake tasting. I didn't know we were skipping. A Friday afternoon, I walked into the bakery we agreed on to confirm the final design. They looked confused. Said Rachel called 2 weeks ago and decided to cancel until the venue was confirmed. I stood there with my phone in one hand and my pride in the other. I hadn't heard a word about that. When I got back to the restaurant that night, I opened the wedding fund account for the first time in a month. Balance, $182.77. $20,000 gone. My chest tightened. I scrolled. The last major withdrawal was $19,200 labeled venue deposit, Willowbridge Estate. Willowbridge? That wasn't even the venue we discussed. We were looking at modern warehouses, downtown rooftops, not country club gardens. I googled the estate. Called their events line. They were polite until they pulled up their booking log. No payment. No reservation. No inquiry under Rachel's name. None under mine. Definitely no one named Julian Knox. My hands went numb. My first thought wasn't even betrayal. It was confusion. Like, maybe this was a mistake. Maybe the payment got lost. So I went home. Rachel was sitting on the couch with wine and a blanket, watching some rom-com about loyalty. The irony made my stomach turn. I asked her, "Hey, did you finalize the venue yet?" She paused. Looked nervous for a split second. Then said, "Yeah, we're locked in. Julian took care of it. Didn't I tell you?" I said, "You told me we were still deciding." Now there's a $19,000 withdrawal to a venue that says we're not on their books. Her face changed. From soft to sharp. "Liam, Do you seriously not trust me? You think I'm stealing from you? From our wedding? I didn't answer because her deflection was louder than any yes or no. She went on, called me paranoid. Said I was trying to micromanage. Said she was handling everything because I was too busy playing chef all the time. I didn't raise my voice, just nodded. Told her I'd look into it with the bank. She said, fine. Do what you want. You always do. Then she went to bed. And I sat in the dark with nothing but the sound of the refrigerator and the realization that I didn't just lose $20,000. I might have lost the person I was building a life with. The next morning, I called my bank. Explained the charge. They flagged the payment and asked for documentation. I checked our email folder with Julian. It was thin. Too thin. One welcome message. No invoices. No signed contracts. Nothing. So I looked at the wire recipient. Name tied to the payment, JK Events Logistics, LLC. I Googled it. Nothing legitimate came up. Just a dead Facebook page and an old Instagram with 4 posts and no comments. Opened the images. Julian's single quotes S face was in one. Behind him, Rachel. Arm around his waist. Smiling. Intimate. Comfortable. Caption, best year ever. 2021, you changed everything. The post date? 4 months before we got engaged. My hands were shaking, not from rage. From betrayal, from stupidity. I had been too trusting. Too focused. Too willing to believe the person I loved couldn't be working against me. But she was. And so was he. I took screenshots. Backed up everything. And called the fraud department again. This time, I used different words. I believe I'm the victim of a staged financial scam involving a wedding planner and my fiancée. They didn't laugh. They opened a case. And I knew right then. This wasn't just personal. This was criminal. I always thought cons were something you saw in movies. Sharp suits, forged papers, fake companies run from strip malls. I never thought one would be planned from my own living room, with wine glasses still in the sink. After the bank opened the case, I started running my own audit. Not of numbers of people. Julian Knox. The name sounded too rehearsed. His emails too vague. No signature. No phone number. No website footer. He sent PDFs with no watermarks. No headers. So I searched business registries. No legit company under JK Events Logistics LLC. The office address listed in his email footer? A vacant lot according to Google Maps. That's when I knew Julian didn't run a business. He ran a con. I went deeper. Used one of my vendor accounts to pull court records. And there he was, Julian T. Knox, aka Julian Thomas, involved in 2 small claims lawsuits in neighboring counties. Both for wedding-related fraud. Same story. High-end planner collects deposits, vanishes. In one complaint, the bride said he pretended to know me through a mutual friend. Said he was rebranding. Took $9,000 and stopped answering texts. My blood boiled, and then it froze, because the last address listed on the complaint? Rachel's old apartment. I stared at the screen for a long time. Long enough for my dinner service to start without me. Long enough to hear the front of house manager texting, "Chef, we good?" I send single quotes D. But I showed up. Because that's what I do. Show up. Even when my life's unraveling. Even when the woman I love might be the one pulling the thread. Back at home that night, Rachel was folding laundry. Smiling. Talking about a rehearsal dinner like we hadn't just torched our future. I asked, "How long have you known Julian?" She flinched. Just for a second. Then said, "From college. We weren't close. Just reconnected." I stared at her. She stared back. I knew, right then, she wasn't innocent. She wasn't misled. She was in on it. I didn't respond, just kissed her goodnight, and waited until she was asleep to open her laptop. Yes, I know how that sounds. But when your house is on fire, you don't ask permission to check the alarms. I checked her downloads folder, and there it was, a PDF labeled Willow_Bridge_Agreement_Final. I opened it. The contract was fake. Obvious. Typos. No signature lines. No contact details. I checked the METADA. Last edited by Rachel Bell. I sat back in the chair. Cold. Not from anger. From clarity. She hadn't been tricked. She'd been part of the trick. And I was the mark. The guy too busy plating food and planning menus to notice. He was being filleted. But not anymore. Because now I had a folder, a name, bank trail. And a growing fire in my chest that no apology could put out. I backed up every file, emailed copies to myself, my lawyer friend, and the detective assigned to the fraud case. And then I opened the blank note and typed, "When the truth hits, make sure it's loud enough to ruin their echo." Because she wanted a beautiful wedding, but what she was about to get was a public reckoning. There's a sound your heart makes when it breaks that no one hears but you. Mine cracked the second I opened her iCloud. She'd left her account logged in on our shared tablet. Not by accident. She just didn't think I'd ever check. But when someone steals $20,000 out of your future and hands it to the past, you stop playing nice. The first thing I did was open the email app. Not the one she used for work. The burner Gmail. The one she thought was invisible. Search Julian, and there it was. 94 emails. Not about wedding vendors. Not about flowers or seating charts. They were about me. He still doesn't suspect anything. He's too busy with the restaurant. We'll time the venue excuse around tax season. Send the deposit request tomorrow. I'll tell him it's for Willowbridge. He won't check. Once the cash clears, we disappear. No wedding. No receipts. I wanted to scream. Instead, I hit forward and sent it all to the detective. Every thread. Every TIMESTAMP. Every subject line that started with update on the scam. But the worst wasn't in the emails. It was in the voice memos. Rachel had a habit of recording ideas out loud. Little voice clips she'd saved to herself. Shopping lists, birthday ideas, vendor notes. But buried between them were bombs. One started like this: Julian, reminder, make sure the transfer is from JK Events, not your name directly. Liam's bank flags weird activity. He checks his statements more than his calendar. She knew I was careful. She used it against me. Another: I'll play innocent. Say I trusted you and you betrayed me too. If he finds out, it'll destroy him, not me. I closed my eyes and just breathed. It didn't feel like a betrayal anymore. It felt like a setup. Months in the making. Like she'd never actually been engaged to me. Just auditioning for a role. And I was too busy being in love to read the script. I sent the voice clips to the detective. Then to my private email. Then to a backup drive. I labeled the folder Truth Insurance. By now, the police had traced the deposit to a burner account linked to Julian's phone number. They were building a case fast. But I wasn't done. Not yet. I knew Rachel. I knew how she spun narratives. How she painted herself as the victim before anyone else had a chance to talk. So I got ahead of her. I printed everything. Made a binder. Color coded. Cover page. Wedding fraud evidence log. I didn't say a word to her. Not even when she started asking weird questions like, "Hey, if you were to call off the wedding, would you still want to be friends?" I just smiled. Said I'd never ruin something we've both worked so hard on. Because I wasn't going to ruin it. I was going to expose it. And when I did, it wasn't going to be in private. It wasn't going to be through text. It was going to be in the one place she never expected, in front of customers, staff, and people who respected me. Because she didn't just take my money. She tried to take my reputation. My peace. My name. And now I had something stronger than love. Evidence. Friday night dinner rush. 60-4 reservations. 18 walk-ins. Fully booked. Fully staffed. And for once, fully prepared. But I wasn't prepping food. I was prepping a confrontation. I wore black. Not for drama. For control. Because when you're about to light the match, it helps to look like you already buried the fire. She came in just before dessert. Serviced it not discreetly, not with hesitation. She slammed open the restaurant's front door, like she was walking onto a courtroom stage. Rachel. Heels. Makeup. Too sharp. Tears too ready. My staff froze. Diners turned their heads. The room quieted, like someone had just announced an engagement. "Liam," she shouted, "you're gonna stand here in front of all these people and act like you didn't destroy my life?" I stepped out from behind the bar. Calm. Measured. I didn't ask why she was there. I already knew. "You ruined our wedding," she yelled. "You reported Julian to the police like some paranoid freak. Do you have any idea what you've done?" Someone started filming. A few phones Went up quietly. She didn't notice. She was too focused on her monologue. You embarrassed me. You humiliated me in front of my family, my friends. And now you're gonna act like the victim? I didn't raise my voice. I didn't even look angry. I just said, you want to tell your version? Go ahead, but let's play mine first. I tapped my phone. AIRPLA. Why? The speakers shifted, and suddenly, the restaurant was filled with her voice. Once the deposit hits, we're out. He's so busy with prep he won't even notice until the venue ghosts him. Gasps. Forks paused mid-air. Glasses stopped mid-sip. Rachel single quotes S face turned white. She lunged forward. Turn that off. I held up the phone like a toast. This is who you hired. This is who you trusted. This is who you became. The next voice in the clip was Julian's. Liam's not the problem. You just need to keep pretending until the payout clears. Rachel's knees buckled. She reached for the counter like she needed something to hold onto, but there was nothing left to grip. Someone in the back said, "Oh my God." Another whispered, "Is this real?" Yes. This was very real. I looked right at her. Softly. Calmly. Double quotes. I didn't destroy the wedding, Rachel. You never planned to have one. She opened her mouth to respond, but then the police walked in. 2 officers. Badge first. Professional. Rachel Bell? One of them asked. You're under arrest for fraud, conspiracy, and wire theft. She STAMMERED. Backed away. You're kidding. This is a mistake. I was scammed too. I stepped aside. Gave them space. She was still screaming as they cuffed her, still blaming me, still trying to rewrite the story, but the recording kept playing, and the room wasn't listening to her anymore. They were watching the woman who tried to steal 20 grand and walk away clean. Watching the one man she thought wouldn't fight back show up with everything documented. As they let her out, someone clapped. Not loud. Just a slow, steady clap. More joined in. My staff. They kept cooking. Service didn't stop. Because the truth didn't just walk in that night. It was served. And Rachel? She wasn't the center of the story anymore. She was just a lesson. The next morning, the internet had already named it the wedding scam takedown at table 12. Someone posted the video. 2 angles. One from the bar, one from a diner near the door. You could hear her voice break. You could hear the voice memo play. You could hear me say, you never planned to have one. 10,000 views by noon. 40 by dinner. It hit 100,000 before midnight. Rachel single quotes S mugshot was online. Front page of 2 local news sites. Charges: grand larceny, wire fraud, conspiracy. Held without bail pending court. But the fallout wasn't over. Her parents called. Not to apologize. Not to ask if I was okay. They demanded I fix it. Said I'd overreacted. Said this would ruin her future. I told them the future she ruined was mine, and the bank account she drained was proof. They tried to post bail, but guess what? Their assets were frozen, because in the weeks leading up to the wedding, $3,000 had been wired from their business to Julian's fake LLC. Turns out, they weren't just enabling her. They were funding her. Maybe knowingly, maybe not. Either way, the state flagged it. The day built the case fast. Julian had already taken a plea deal. Turned over his devices, emails, bank logs, text threads, and in all of it Rachel was not the victim. She was the planner behind the planner. She used her graphic design skills to make fake invoices, logos, and venue brochures. She created an entire wedding that never existed. Just a performance. Just a long con. Meanwhile, my restaurant booked solid. People started requesting the table where it happened. Press called. A food blogger interviewed me. They titled the piece, "From Chef to Con Survivor, Liam's Recipe for Revenge." I didn't correct them, because it wasn't revenge. It was survival. It was clarity. But I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel good watching the lies burn. One night, my manager handed me a letter. No stamp. Just dropped off. Rachel. She wrote from jail. Inside 3 pages of excuses. How she felt unworthy of me. How she panicked and leaned on someone she thought she could trust. How she never meant for it to go that far. I read it once. Folded it back. Set it on the prep counter and slid it straight into the trash. Because if someone lies with that much precision, records your downfall like a script, They don't get closure. They get consequences. The best part? The bank called me. Fraud insurance had recovered $17,400 of the original $20,000. They offered to return it. I said yes. But not for a wedding. Not for revenge. For something new. People kept asking me, Liam, what now? Like my life was on pause, until someone handed me a clean resolution. But closure isn't handed to you. You build it. Plate by plate. Step by step. I took the $17,400. The bank recovered and did what I do best: create something that lasts. Signed a lease on a new space across town. An old brick building with history in the walls and scars in the wood. I named it Ember and Bone. Not romantic. Not sweet. But honest. It was raw. And it was mine. No shared accounts. No planners. No backdoor passwords. Just me, a new sous chef. And the truth printed on every receipt. I didn't advertise the story, but people came anyway. Not for the scandal, for the survival. They wanted to taste what resilience cooked like. Opening night was tight. Friends. Loyal staff, and one reporter who quietly asked, "Do you think she ever really loved you?" I looked at the empty wine glass in front of me and said, "Maybe, but love without loyalty is just performance." Rachel took a plea deal. 18 months probation. Restitution payments. Community service. She tried to email me again. Twice. Both messages started the same way: I miss who we were. But we were never we. Just me trying to build something real while she rehearsed an escape. Julian got jail time. He's banned from operating under any business license for the next 10 years. Her family publicly distanced themselves. They released a statement: "We are unaware of any fraudulent activity and fully support the investigation." Translation: we're not going down with her. And me? I wake up at 5 a.m. Start prep at 6. Doors open at noon. We close when the fire runs out. And somehow, the silence after service feels louder than it used to, but cleaner. Sometimes, I walk by the old bakery where our tasting never happened. They still remember me. They smile now. Call me the guy who turned betrayal into bookings. I'll take it. Because in the end, I didn't lose $20,000. I reclaimed it, reinvested it. Burned the blueprint she gave me, and drew my own. So, if you ever find yourself loving someone who's always one step ahead with secrets, stop chasing. Stand still. Let the truth come to you, and when it does, serve it hot.